Dr. Nicola here, and I'm popping in because I've had these couple of really cool experiences happening this week and last week, and I wanted to share them with you because I feel like it's really relevant to all of us. I'm going to push my screen down here a little bit because I'm talking a lot with my hands. And that is, why do we bother looking deeper? And it really hit home for me a couple of weeks ago when I was working with a patient who was prepping for a colonoscopy. And she was just feeling really, really nervous around this colonoscopy and family history of colon cancer. So there was some really surface things that made logical sense around why she'd be worried. But I was like, you know what, let's just take one session and an hour, and let's just clear this out of your system. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's help you presence it, and let's allow you to integrate it so that you're now no longer beholden to this old energy from the past. And sure, and even if it was just related to her family history. So sure enough, we deepened down, and there was a really tender piece from her childhood that came up that she had no idea, that none of us could have ever guessed what would have been related to getting ready for a colonoscopy. And as we listened to this younger part of herself and really presenced it and allowed this young one to connect with this woman's essence of who she is now, and being an adult in the room and resourced and listening and loving and compassionate, she felt so light, like so light. And then when she went for her procedure last week, it was like a non-issue. I talked to her today, she was flirting with the staff and she was having a good time, and it was over before she knew it, and she had zero side effects. Her colonoscopy came back 100% clean, not even a polyp. And I'm like, yes, this is what happens when we listen to the body, and when we listen to these cues and take each of these opportunities where when we're glitching on something's just like sticking in our consciousness. If we take the time to, and like, oh, this is an opportunity to learn and to listen, and I can slow down and really presence what that is, and it could be a huge piece. As some of you know, I play in a band, and we had a big performance on Saturday afternoon just last weekend, and I woke up at like 6 o'clock in the morning with this physical just attack of nerves. My stomach was in my throat, my heart was racing. I was like physically just so nervous. And it was funny because in my mind, I wasn't really worried about it. It's pretty, I have a pretty low, super, super accepting group of women that I play music with, and we're just doing it for fun. We're not trying to get anywhere with it. And, but I really took that level of response from my body, as I took it seriously and as a cue that there was something important here to look at. So got my dogs and I went down to the river, and I really listened and was able to really identify this young part of me that has been believing that she doesn't do things wrong, but that she is wrong, and that getting up and being seen makes her very vulnerable to criticism and hatred and rejection, and so some pretty heavy things. And then I also identified where those stories and that energy came from. And there's one particular person in my world, and I was really able to show up for this little girl. She was maybe, I don't know, 9, maybe even 7, and free her of this burden and this belief that it wasn't okay for her to spin in circles until she got so dizzy that she fell over, because that's something that she loves to do, and to just go and have fun and giggle and be loud and be silly and be seen and let everybody do whatever they're doing, and for her to do her thing. And then once she was freed of that and really, found her joy and her fun and her pleasure again, I was actually really able to see the person that this came from with so much compassion. And I really believe that I was able to help free him from a layer of heaviness and shame and wrongness that he had been carrying. And so I don't know if that's true, but it really felt that way in my being. And I like skipped on back to my car and just was so light, and was able to really bring that lightness and that joy into the rest of my experience. And I was so grateful for that experience, because that was a really deep piece that has been really living within me. And it's been kind of popping its head up here and there where I feel like I've been made to be wrong. And yeah, and so it was just such a beautiful gift to just take time to be with myself, even though it was a really full day. There were other things I wanted to do, some things I needed to do. And my old me would have said, don't make time for this. This is silly. Just kind of take a deep breath and get over it. but my more evolved self knew that this was a beautiful opportunity. So why do we look within? Because it's an opportunity to understand what's really going on. It's an opportunity for it to release our body from carrying the burden of the stress, trauma, emotion, memory, story, whatever that is. And it's an opportunity for us to release ourselves from that burden and allow ourselves a whole new layer and level of lightness and vitality and joy. And so, this is why we do this. Yes, sometimes, a lot of times, it relates to our childhood, it relates to our past, it relates to things that maybe we've talked about ad nauseum, or things that we don't want to look at or be with because it feels too overwhelming. But I promise you, there is a path that is not terribly painful and doesn't require months or years of suffering, but you can really start being free from this. So if you're interested, let me know. I'd love to work with you one-on-one in our groups, our memberships, or at the retreat that we're having this June, from June 20th to 23rd. If you want to really dive deep and allow yourself to free of some of these glitches that have been hanging you up, I would love, love, love to work with you and assist you in that. So thanks for joining. Tell me where you're getting stuck. Write in the comments, share with me, and we will play with this together. And when we do it for ourselves, we are also working to free the collective, because these are thought forms that have been happening, thousands and thousands and thousands of these thought forms a day for millennia. So we are freeing ourselves from that collective conditioning as well, and just starting to break up that neural network of the way things are and the way they need to be, hard and heavy and serious. And when we free ourselves, we allow everybody else to be free too. So that's why we do this work that I love. So thanks again for joining me. And if you have questions, comments, I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.